Couldn't prove it. In fact, the final order says barely 300. Here's what that means. If you have a 4-person family and your neighbor comes to you and says, hey, I know you only have 4 people in your family, but if you'll buy this 6-passenger Suburban with 15 miles a gallon, I'll put my 2 kids in it for free and you'll drive them around town. You probably wouldn't go for it. The utilities wanted you to pay 100% of the construction costs, OG&E did, and they would sell the excess power to Kansas and Arkansas and beyond, and you'd get 10% back. Who's buying that? Not me, and I don't think you would either. Again, it's a bit reckless to hear the strength of opinions from someone who wasn't there. I was there. Ask the witnesses the question. I have a steady hand on your behalf, and I will share with you that those numbers are why I voted no. It's too risky. When we had a used power plant in existence online in Oklahoma using Oklahoma fuel, we could step onto a steady rock across this uncertain future instead of gambling with 60 years would have been the life expectancy of that coal plant. Your yet unborn grandchildren of your kids would be servicing the debt on that plant. Third thing I need to correct. The cost associated with their planning was offset by CO2 allowances, sulfur dioxide that they had banked, that they now are pulling out of their portfolio and cashing that out so that your rates don't go up. And the idea that, gosh, they spent a lot of time on this, let's let them do that. Someone spent a lot of time on the Edsel, the Pontiac Fiero. Doesn't mean it was a good car. The reality is Oklahoma deserved better. I shared with them that we have to do better. To the utilities' credit, they came and said, okay, what is Plan B? And they put Oklahoma first. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be an Oklahoman. But I took an oath to serve this state, to serve each of you. And so without equivocation, it's Oklahoma first for me.
I've never said that the rural electric cooperatives were regulated by the Corporation Commission. 10 years ago, rural electric cooperatives that had 17,000 members or more could opt out. And actually 4 or 5 years ago, if you had smaller members, groups with smaller members, they could opt out as well. But what do you think the rural electric cooperatives do? They buy power from regulated utilities. Because a lot of them don't generate their own power, they actually buy it from others. The Red Rock Power Plant case was long and involved, and an administrative law judge who has 20-some years experience in the utility sector at the Commission actually heard a significant part of this case. The challenge again for all of us is looking to see what is going to be best for Oklahoma consumers as far as reliable, affordable power, not just from one source. We need the wind power, and the coal-fired power plant would not necessarily have excluded additional wind power development because we still continue to need it. The rural electric cooperatives still continue to need it. So again, it comes back to me to looking at diversified fuel sources for Oklahoma, and the onus is on the coal industry, as it is every other industry, to advance and use technology in the highest way possible so that we can provide consumers with affordable, reliable power, not just now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
You all have been incredibly patient to listen to this case and us go back and forth on it, so I will just simply try to summarize this case, because it is important, I think, because it did have a 60-year projected life. Wyoming Coal, with one train provider into Noble County, Oklahoma, monopolistic train with very tough inflationary costs associated with it for 60 years. A plant with a price estimate not reliable and out of date. An out-of-state fuel source that suffered inflation, while today natural gas is half of what it was not many months ago. Oklahoma first. Oklahomans first, because I'm not willing to gamble with the financial uncertainty associated with this plant, or if they come with another idea like it. It's too financially risky. Now, I will share with you that we do need all fuel sources. Our future is going to require diversification. We absolutely have to have that. But the challenge for us is, how do we keep rates low while benefiting Oklahoma? Please look at your utility bill the next time you get it. Two-thirds of it is fuel costs. What's the price of wind? Look at the reality associated when you have capital costs that's some of the cheapest to bring power online through a wind turbine 1/8 of nuclear power with free fuel. It's right for us, and the decision was right, and I'm proud of Jeff Cloud for joining me.
Judge Murphy, I think you have a 2-minute rebuttal.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought I had already responded. The wind does not blow all the time. It will not provide baseload generation, and no matter how much you hear that wind is going to provide the answer and all the power that we need, it's only part of what is going to provide the power that we need. We continue to need to advance. I think we need to look again at solar. We need to look at the best use for our natural gas, because natural gas is an incredible resource. Then instead of just using it to think about generating power, again, I mentioned it at the beginning, we need to use it in our stoves, we need to use it in our hot water heaters, we need to use it in our furnace. It's one of the best commodities that we have. And we have to be careful that we don't try to shift everything towards natural gas, and then we're going to be in another situation where we're relying on one fuel to provide all of our needs, and what's that going to do? Create another supply and demand issue, because infrastructure is part of whether we're going to use compressed natural gas for vehicles, and transmission is going to be so expensive to build. It's already been approved. $1.50 is already going to be added. It's already added to your bill for the transmission lines that are being built, and that's just the start. So you have to realize there's nothing free about all of this. It all has some cost associated with it, whether it's the building up front, the continued maintenance of it, because that's going to be one of the most critical issues facing Oklahoma, is not just building, but maintaining and keeping in good shape what we've already got.
Very good. Due to our